Kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to your prayer this evening, Lord, just as humble as we can. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for all that you've done. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for being with us, for taking care of us, Lord, bringing us together this evening. Lord, I pray that you would just look down over us, Lord, give us the knowledge, the wisdom, Lord, and the compassion that we need here this evening, Lord, to take care of our business. Lord, I pray that you'll touch, Lord, each one today, Lord, that's not able to be here. Lord, I pray that you'll touch the ones that's sick, Lord, be with them. Touch our nation, Lord, be with it, Lord, we ask. In Jesus' sweet name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 4.
Mr. Abbott.
Here.
Mr. Atkins.
Here.
Mr. Blanchett. Mr. Brandt.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Cantrell.
Here.
Mr. Franklin.
Here.
Mr. Hargis. Mr. Holland.
Here.
Mr. Mason. Here. Chairman Morrison. Mr. Nunley.
Here.
Mr. Rollins.
Here.
Mr. Schaefer.
Here.
Mr. Thompson.
Thank you. Item agenda number 5, approval of previous meeting minutes. Do I have a motion? Second. Motion by Mr. Brand, second by Mr. Shepard. Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You abstain?
Yeah, I will hear that. Agenda item number 6, approval of the August agenda. I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, on 18, Mr. Kurt Johnson won't be here, so we'll strike that. If that's appropriate. Mr. Brandon, the water, on number 19, is that a new item or is that for lines?
What's your question?
Number 19, thank you.
And what about it?
Is that big for line?
It's in reference to water in general.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we strike that when we're not a utility district.
I don't think it's in reference to utility districts. It's questions about how money was spent.
I'll pull that motion now.
We have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item agenda number 7, public comments. We have Mr. Troy Venata present.
Yes, sir. Would it be all right if I had,
Yes,
you got
sir.
to pass these around?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate it. I am Troy Venata. I would like to provide some background regarding Teleduca Trail, which is on tonight's agenda. I have developed this plat showing the property surrounding the Phase 2 portion of Sequatchie Point. When the subdivision was started, it quickly became apparent to the developer that the only viable path for their lower road entrance was across our property. As such, we entered into a contract for them to be able to put the road across our property. The contract stipulated that they were to complete the road work to county standards. If they failed to meet these requirements, the road across our property would revert back to us. This is how it's shown on the current Tennessee Assessor's map. We entered into this contract to ensure that a proper road would be built and any development would be subject to subdivision regulations. Teleducha Trail now has many issues due to multiple landslides and erosion. A judgment regarding all the environmental issues related to the road is in place. The Assistant Attorney General called me and confirmed no one should even be using this road. He confirmed that before any work is to be done on this road, a corrective action plan shall be presented and approved by TDEC. After sitting idle for years, a new landowner has bought lots in the development. Statements have been made insinuating that we are trying to block her from having an easement. We have told her basically the same thing that we told Sequatchie Point developers. If you want the right of way to be restored across our property, we need to enter into a contract. We will require the same standards to be met, including a road built to county standards and all of the lots to be subject to the original restrictions. From our perspective, what is decided about this one case actually affects and will pertain to about 25 other lots in phase 2. We need to ensure the precedent we set is established for all of these lots. There is already a legal easement through Sequatchie Point at the top of the mountain. While it is a legal access, the road has slid off the hill. All parties to these transactions should have been aware of these facts. We want to ensure the original restrictions attached to the deed lots are followed. We are concerned the plans the new owner has in mind might not meet these. All we really want to have is a nice subdivision as was originally planned. Thank you. I appreciate y'all's time, and any questions or any comments you have, I'll be glad to talk to you. Just let me know.
Any questions?
Yeah, as far as the county's responsibility to this right here, because unfortunately, we have a bad situation where people were not given notice that procured land. And Mr. Granada had sounds like a contract that is a valid contract from 2006. And I think the reversion was done in 2015.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Would not the county have given notice to all the property owners in there that private agreement existed? And now that we're in this situation where these people are gonna be landlocked, how can we help them as a county?
Well, unfortunately, the majority of the issues that both the Bananas and the lot owners, or the property owners who have bought property in this area in question, are private issues. The county did approve a subdivision plat for Sequatchie Point back around 2007, 2008. It was done in phases, so the dates are going to shift a little bit. But as far as the county giving notice of the reversion, again, that was a private contract between the Bananas and the developer, Mr. Detweiler, his entity. I think it was in either an LLC or a corporate name. I don't recall right now. But as far as what the other individual landowners know or knew about the property in question, the road, I can't answer that question. The judgment, the court order that Mr. Bernada is referring to has been a record for a number of years, and it was just recently extended. There was an order extending judgment that was done, I believe, in 2022. It was done in Chancery Court in Davidson County, because that's where jurisdiction lies for enforcement actions that involve the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, or TDEC, which was the controlling entity over this section of Teledatcha Trail. So unless or until someone or some entity, and this would apply to the county as well, develops a comprehensive plan to correct all the problems that the state calls the corrective action plan that exists with this lower section of Teledatcha Trail, I'm fairly confident that the state's not going to allow any work to be done of any substance on the road. It sounds like Mr. Bernada may have talked to the state attorneys more recently than I have, but that's always been my understanding of their position on the road, this section of the road in general. And that's also one of the reasons why when the county, I won't speak for Mayor Jackson, but when the county did receive the settlement funds from the bonding company, the insurance company that had the bonds, money wasn't spent on this lower section because the state wouldn't allow it. There weren't nearly enough funds to do the corrections on this lower section that the state was requiring. So the money was used where it provided the most benefit to those landowners.
Well, I think it's a question I would have. We have a plat that the county approved. So, and I can understand where the property owners have bought land, and when you read this plat, it says ownership statement, I hereby certify that I am the owner of the property shown and described hereon, and that, it's awful small, sorry. And I hereby adopt this plan of division with my free consent, establish the minimum building setback lines, and hereby dedicate to the public use forever all streets as shown on this plat. So was there a process that the county did not do as far as vacating this road and nullifying this plat, so these people would at least not have bought a piece of land that they can't get to?
Well, the statement that is on the plat was accurate when it was made. And I think Mr. Manetta would concur, there was actually a deed, you all did a deed to Mr. Detweiler's, the developer's entity. But they had an additional component of their agreement, they had the right of reversion in it if the conditions of that deed were not fulfilled. And again, the county wasn't a party to that, correct?
That's right, and that's what happened. They were supposed to have finished the road and turned it over to the county, and obviously that never happened. And so, you know, while our piece of property does actually block the lower access to the road, when you look at the plat, it is still actually connected to Teleducci Trail through the top. So this is not completely blocked. It is legally accessible. Unfortunately, it's via a road that's fell off the side of the mountain in multiple places. You know, to me, it's, you know, there's everybody, including the new landowner, are all in a little bit of a quandary here because, you know, it really goes back to Detweiler and everything failing with the development. He's the real bad guy here, you know, they let the development. Huh?
I'm a big landowner. I just want to say that I spoke with the Attorney General as well, and unfortunately, the state does not have any actions that they can take over private land. It was reiterated to me on multiple aspects that they do not close private land and that all of this land is private. I believe I spoke with you as well, Ms. Mangler, prior to me buying this property, and I was told this is private land. The county wants nothing to do with it. The issue that I'm having is that I got a cease and desist letter to cross 60 feet of Venata property when I've even discussed with them that I would put gravel down, I would try to make all the improvements I could within my own funds. And they are saying that, no, you cannot. The problem is that there was never any notification given to any landowner that uses that known entrance, that is also a utility entrance, and has been for over 20 years. I have one of the owners who has a statement letter Mr. Brandt is gonna read. None of them have been notified that the Venatas want their property back or that we have to pay for their property. And what I'm saying is, the county's gonna have a lawsuit if this is the case, because we've all been misinformed and not one of us has been informed that we can't access this land and that there was ever a public notification to the landowners. None of them, I'm gonna read you a whole list of them, were ever told that this land is closed.
Well, please, the map you have in front of you, straight off the Tennessee Assessment
That
website.
doesn't matter, that doesn't
And
matter.
it
because-
clearly
Hold
shows-
on, folks.
No.
And you're not on the agenda,
I'm
so
sorry,
let's.
I apologize.
You're fine, you're fine. Counselor, do you have anything else to add?
Well, I have another question. So as a county, what can we do to help both parties where it's a win-win? It sure seems like I'm not hearing the response, not that I'm looking for a given response, but it sure seems like when you have a plat that was submitted for approval, and this is an approved plat. Matter of fact, the roads were signed by John Graham. These people went to the plat, obviously, to look at it, and they said, okay, who did you buy your property from?
Clint Carroll,
And-
the Harvey Cameron.
So Harvey Cameron, Clint Carroll, sold them a piece of property, said they had access. Does this plat have anything to do with it? And should we have vacated or said, hey, this easement no longer exists? So that at least we don't have neighbor on neighbor fighting each other because of something they didn't get as far as notice is concerned.
Well, I don't know about, what any conversations that Bananas might have had with county officials, but I didn't see anything of record when I looked a couple of months ago that was recorded, showing that some kind of notice had been provided. Troy, am I misspeaking when I say that?
No, other than, the reversion was recorded, and
Right.
it's in the, if you run backwards through all of the deeds, you'll find it. It's there.
There's also a statute, Mr. Brandt, that applies when the plat is approved. That's the first step for a road that's in a subdivision, when the subdivision is planned for the roads to become county roads. And not to step on Road Superintendent Pickett's toes, but the way it works, there's a statute that says there's an additional step that's required. The approval of the plat by itself is not sufficient. It's only approved by the planning commission. It requires a subsequent step to be taken by this body and by the county road superintendent before a platted road becomes a county road. And none of that has been done with respect to any of the roads in Sequatchie Point, not just this section of Tallahatchie Trail. And from the information I've been provided by different landowners in the subdivision, there are some who want the roads within the subdivision to become county roads, and there are some owners who don't want them to become county roads. And that's a private issue that they're gonna have to resolve, before the issue of county road versus private road can really be addressed by you all and by Superintendent Pickett. So the same thing would apply here. That lower section, where the dispute lies tonight, is still private. It's still privately owned. The county doesn't own it. The county doesn't have any legal rights to it other than, it being part of an approved plat for a subdivision that ultimately failed. I'm not even certain at this point, other than the section that the Bananas are claiming by virtue of their right of reversion, I'm not even certain who owns title to the remainder of the road. It was all at one time owned by Mr. Detweiler and his Sequatchie Mountain entity, but there was a foreclosure done by their farm credit lender at one point. So you'd have to go back and examine the foreclosure documents, the trustee's deed that came out of that foreclosure, to try to determine who actually holds legal title to the road itself. I don't know who it is, but I know it's not the county. So that's the first hurdle that has to be overcome before the county really can do anything other than provide encouragement and support to all these parties as they're trying to work through it. The other thing is you have to keep in mind, the order that TDEC and the state attorneys have had on record now for a number of years is pretty clear about what's going to be allowed or not allowed on this lower section of Tallahatchie Trail. So regardless of who's doing it, whether it's a private landowner, a group of landowners, a developer, or the county, that needs to be the first phone call, is, to get their approval. And one time, talking about notice, at one time there was a sign.
There still is.
At the lower entrance to that. Is it still there?
It's an official state sign, very clear. No trespassing, dangerous, violators will be prosecuted. Does that sound?
Excuse me, that just goes back to it being private, so the state wants nothing to do with that. I've already, they can't shut private land. They can't go to your house and say your driveway is shut, it's unstable. You know what I mean? They can't.
I understand what you're saying, but the state, from what I understand, was the agency that put the sign there to begin with, so.
Yeah, I think that's when it was gonna be a county road.
I don't think the county put that sign up.
The county did put it up.
So are we at the point where we're gonna tell these people basically it's a private matter, county doesn't have any part of it? Or is there something we can do to at least find a solution for both parties to be satisfied?
Well, anything that the county does, again, we're still, as of right now, we're still talking about private property. You know, whether it's owned by the Donatas, whether it's owned by some surviving Detweiler entity. Mr. Detweiler is deceased, so I'm not sure, you know, if it's still, if the last record title owner to that property was Mr. Detweiler or one of his entities, I have no idea where that would lie now, since he's deceased and both of his entities are dissolved or no longer exist for whatever reason. Some of them were bankrupted. I'm not exactly, you know, what the disposition of all those entities were. There were others involved. But it is privately owned by someone. So much like other discussions we've had in these meetings about roads, private roads, public roads, opening new roads, you know, the same laws will apply. If the county moves forward with some effort to establish the lower section of Teledacty Trail as a quote-unquote county road, then, you know, you're looking at a condemnation issue. You're taking somebody's property, whether it's the Donatas, whether it's some remaining entity of Mr. Detweiler's, you know, or some third party that I'm not clear on who that would be right now, but it could certainly be. That's, in the past, it's always up to you all, you all make decisions, but in the past, that's never really been something that this body has been willing, you know, to pursue. It's condemnation of someone's property to establish a road.
We're looking at the final plat as well. Obviously, you said it was failed, so that means there was a bond. What was that bond amount? Do you happen to remember?
I don't remember the exact offhand. There were bonds for water, bonds for roads in phases 2 and 3, and then there were subparts of each phase. There were like 4 parts of phase 3. I don't remember how many subparts there were of phase 2.
So I was looking at the fact that the road had been approved by our road superintendent. It would seem that we are involved with this, and I don't see how we can just sit back and say we can't help you. This was a Marion County subdivision that failed.
And again, you're going to be limited to the circumstances are not changed in that as it stands right now, the roads and the lots in there are all private property. Ms. Donata's property is privately owned. So does the county have the legal authority to condemn somebody's property to build a road? I think without question it does have that authority. You have to pay fair market value for the land that's taken, plus you have to pay damages to the remainder of the land that's still owned by the party that you take the property from.
Is that an option with the Donatas to actually sell your easement so that people can get access?
So we actually presented this to the landowner specifically. We stated, and as I said, our conditions are basically the same as they were to the original developer. If y'all want a road to go across our property, we have stipulations. We don't want you just to come along and do whatever you want to do. It needs to be the restrictions that were on these properties as they were originally sold, because that was supposed to be a nice subdivision, right? We don't want just any old thing up there. We don't want businesses or whatever. Also, if somebody goes and puts a road up there, we don't want somebody to just throw out some gravel and say, hey, there's your road, you know? We want a road. Go ahead.
So TDEC in their order says that before anyone can do any work on the road, it has to be a corrective action plan presented to TDEC, they approve it, and you bring the $88,500 worth of fines that is attached to that order up to date. So it's not like you can go down there and throw a little bit of gravel out and call it a road.
Right.
This is, they're not playing around.
You said
It's also on private property.
It's $88,500.
Sure. And we're not saying no, we just want it done right. Now that's
You're
means
on
different
private
things to
property,
different
though.
people.
Hold up.
This isn't county.
Hold on, let's one at a time.
Yes.
Any more thoughts, Councilman? I mean, when did you acquire the property, man, just for the record?
June.
June, through warranty deed, title?
Through quick clean deed through Harvey, but I have a warranty deed on my other lot.
Special warranty deed.
Special warranty deed. Any title work, I mean, any title opinion, title work before you purchase the
No.
property?
I'm pursuing everything myself.
So I understand when you do that, there's no checking to see.
No, there's checks. We have a title search. Our title's clear.
Okay.
Then there's never been a reversion clause even mentioned in any of the title search, which is all gonna come legally. I mean, the problem is that they keep reiterating that it's county. You're saying right here, it's not county, it's private, and there was never any notification to any of the 8 owners that have access below the washout. So let me just clarify that. We're well below the washout. We're not anywhere near the washout. And the utility company, the electric company, AT&T was out there. I mean, they use this road all the time. The neighbors use it. They run their 4-wheelers down there. I've met half of them. They're walking down there and hiking all the time. So, and these are the neighbors on Bench Street. So I've met all of them. And I'm a physician, I am not trash, so I kind of resent that they're saying, what are they gonna do with the property? And the other owners are actually quite successful as well, so please don't assume that we're meth heads, which is what you mentioned to me previously.
All right, we're gonna stop right here. We need to move forward. Ms. Banana, we'll take this under consideration. I think this is it is a private matter that will end up having to play its way out in the courts.
I know the Bananas have an attorney. I've seen the opinion letter from Mr. McCall. I know you have an attorney, and if there's anything I can do to facilitate, certainly. I have a pretty extensive file on Squatch Point, unfortunately, because of all the litigation that was involved after the fact. Not related to this, don't misunderstand, but just to the field development in general. But again, like Elizabeth was commenting on, I think if the county's gonna have any role at all, I think it needs to be coordinated through the state. We certainly don't want to run afoul of their order, which again has been extended for an additional 10 years as of a couple of years ago. So this is not something that they ignored, because they did that on their own. They didn't do it as a result of somebody contacting them or there being some activity or property or anything like that. So it's still on their radar screen for sure.
Billy, what was the amount of bond that was on that? And what was the bond spent on?
I think the total amount of the bonds was around, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, it's been a long time since I looked at that, but $8 million, maybe something like that. But that included the bond for water. And the water, as it was ultimately approved by the county, the water was to be supplied by the city of South Pittsburgh. And none of that infrastructure was ever built, so it became impossible to connect the development to the South Pittsburgh water system.
What happened to $8 million?
Well, the bonding company, since that wasn't feasible to do a water system, they wouldn't pay the water portion of it. There are water lines in phase 1, but those were already done and paid for by the developer before they defaulted on phases 2 and 3.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I could clarify a little bit of this, I believe. I was over there one day and I talked to a TDEC guy, and before any work can be done on that, whether private or whoever, the county, there's a huge portion of that road that has to be taken back out, then compacted and put back in, and then there's all sorts of drainage structures and all. You can't, a private citizen cannot go in there and do anything on that road without TDEC approval. And they shut the road down. If you're going in there right now, you're violating the law. It's that simple.
Thank you. I guess, Ms. Banana, you were on here as well.
Yes.
Did you have something else you needed to add?
Yes. Well, I won't introduce myself since it's already been done. And my husband and I have owned property for 30 years in Marion County. In June, Commissioner Brandt disregarded a state sign on Teleducci Trail that says the road is closed, dangerous, violators will be prosecuted. He also crossed our private property that is clearly marked with no trespassing signs. I met Brandt, his son, and the property owner while they were working on clearing lots in the failed development. His son has a land clearing business. At the property owner's request, work had also been done on the road bed. The road bed has not been maintained since 2008 and is extremely eroded and overgrown. All three of them were told that there was no easement across the property, no access for our property, and to not cross again. Brant and his son were invited into our home and told details of the failed development. Brant, his son, and the property owner continued to cross our property to work on the lots. He told the property owner at some point she would get an easement. This was what she told me on my first meeting. Equipment was removed and work stopped only after Brant was copied on a cease and desist with trespassing email sent to the property owner from our attorney. Brant is very aware that this is an ongoing civil legal matter that does not involve the county attorney, and the other county officials have acknowledged that our property is private. He has disregarded the law concerning no trespassing. He did not contact us before adding Teleducci Trail to the agenda. In my opinion, as an elected official, these actions show a conflict of interest, a lack of ethical judgment, and a lack of transparency. He has shown no respect for my rights as a private property owner. I am interested in, well, I've already heard his motivation, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Can we just add that she acknowledged it was a private easement? I just want to add that
All right,
for
we're gonna
record.
move forward, thank you. Number 8, budget amendments. Item number 9, budget amendments, Marion County Board of Education. Anybody from the Board of Education? Motion to table? Second motion to table, second. All in favor? Aye. Item number 10, budget amendments, Marion County Highway Department. We're on a roll. Number 11, resolution pertaining to the opioid abatement agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I will address that. You have in front of you a resolution, actually came from the state. It's been revised for Marion County's details, but it is an amendment to the existing opioid abatement agreement that has been submitted primarily because there have been additional settlements made with opioid manufacturers or distributors, particularly the Purdue settlement, and then there were 8 smaller opioid manufacturers who have now been the subject of settlements that have been reached by the state and the other parties to the pending opioid litigation. So this is simply the next step that all the counties and the cities that are participating in this particular suit will need to approve this so that the settlements can move forward and additional opioid funds can be received by the county.
Thank you, sir. Make a motion to approve this. There's a motion. Second. Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, sir. Item number 12, resolution, use of Tracy City Technology Data Grant Fund.
You have in front of you a resolution that allows essentially a redirection of funds you'd already approved for the improvements to the Tracy City Water Project. If you read through the resolution, it'll give you the details on what they've done. When they bid out the original, as I understand it, when they bid out the original project for which the county's funds were going to be used, the bids came in way over budget. And so the Tracy City water system decided to do those improvements in-house. And so they are now requesting that they be allowed to redirect or transfer the $191,250 that you all had previously committed to the Foster Falls project to a water treatment plant project that they are also doing. And this will benefit the Squatchy Mountain, Foster Falls area of Marion County, which is completely dependent upon the Tracy City water system for its water supply. So that's what they're asking for permission from you all to do, is to redirect those funds to water treatment plant improvements as opposed to the original project, which they have already done in-house.
Mr. Grant, is there any specifics in it that would require it to be used for a given purpose, or they can?
As long as it's for their water system, yes, sir, that's correct. It's permissible.
Any questions? Have a motion? So moved. So moved. Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Item number 13, contract with Crescendo Marketing, social media and content campaign.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We received a tourism grant probably a couple years ago from the state, almost $100,000. And we have a gentleman named Doug DeVore from South Pittsburgh, who has been helping us with our tourism website. And this company here will provide social media stuff, Facebook, TikTok, all that social media stuff. The state of Tennessee has approved this contract. It's $1,500 a month. Total cost will be $18,000. Been approved by the state. We just need approval from the county commission to proceed with this contract.
Any questions?
So this is a website just exclusively for tourism? It has nothing to do with the county website, or?
No, this is separate by separate.
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Entertain a motion? Motion? Second. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next on the agenda, purchase of 2 Ford Explorers. I know where that's the sheriff here. Come on up.
I'd like for commission to see if they would approve for me to buy 2025 Ford Explorers. Murfreesboro Ford on the state bid for a cost of $89,752. It's already been approved in the budget, so I just asked if y'all would approve that tonight.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Sheriff.
Sheriff, I just wish that things had instead of rear cloth seats, the vinyl.
Hey, there's one other item on road commission. There's a lady that lives on Jeff Road up Dunlap that wants to, it's a small road. I think there's 2 or 3 houses. She asked me, the road commissioner, about making that a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit road. So you've talked, had the road commissioner?
Yes, sir, yeah.
She's in agreement with that, if y'all would approve that.
What was the name again?
Jeff Road. Jeff.
J-E-F-F?
J-E-F-L.
Where's that at?
It's above, up there at Red Hill.
What was that, Hill?
Red Hill.
Red Hill. Red Hill.
Red.
About 6-7 miles above, Whipple on Donald Road.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have a motion. Motion, second. To approve the sheriff's request to make 15-mile-an-hour speed limit on Jeff Road. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Number 15, bid for advanced one-touch turnkey heavy systems with the court.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Put $125,000 in our budget to cover this, and this is updating the 3 courtrooms, Justice Center, new mics, it's got all the stuff listed here. That will take place to where they can have PowerPoints, new technology up there that they're struggling with now. Again, this is put out the bid, this is the only bid we received, and that bid amount is $115,449.70, and we do have $125,000 in the budget to make this upgrade.
Anybody have any questions? Have a motion? Motion? Yes, sir.
What kind of warranty is on here?
Page, you know what top of the warranty is? Page how for this bids.
We got Ms. Mashburn here to answer questions.
Good afternoon. There is a yearly surcharge, so a yearly support fee that is going to come out of Ms. Henderson's. We kind of worked on this together, but it would come out of Ms. Henderson's budget. So as far as a warranty, I'm not 100% sure what the warranty is, but I do know that we will have yearly support, every year, so.
You know, these screens are $2,500 a piece, lightning strikes them. Is that insurance coverage, or is that warranty, or, I mean, I just wanna make sure, or if they go out for some reason.
Right. I'm sure there probably is. I don't have the paperwork with me, but I can definitely find out and let you know.
No, that, I just wanna make, if you guys are comfortable with it, that, I'm sure you've looked through that, done your
Yes.
due diligence, that you're comfortable
Yes.
with it.
And this is the same system that Franklin County has. And they've had it for quite a while and they've never had any problems. The support's been great. All around, it's just a great system, so.
Commissioner Abbott, I think the last page here shows 12 months of hardware support.
Yeah, I was hoping they could get a little further down the road there.
Full coverage of parts and labor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It also says, Mr. Abbott, that it's extended year to year if you do the annual maintenance program.
Is this a sole source deal, or is this just, one vendor, or do you go out and find three different?
At our parks conference, there's a bunch of different vendors that we've met with. There was one that I got a quote for, and they were gonna charge like $98,000 per courtroom for the same exact system that this company is offering for $115,000. So I just think, for the price, I mean, 98 times 3, that's a lot of money. So, this system is gonna be very beneficial and keep things moving along in the court system, so.
It was, Mr. Brandon was put out for bid, advertised for bids, and they're gonna be able to see.
Do we have a motion and a second? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on, item number 16, Perry Grant. Mr. Lambert.
Yes, sir. Good evening. You had a small introduction in your packet about this, my request. Just to recap, we were here last year with the same request. The 10 Perry stands for the Tennessee Pipeline Emergency Response Initiative. It is a 501c company or corporation that was formed by the Tennessee Fire Chiefs Association in concert with the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, private pipeline suppliers like Colonial and Inmark, to develop a training program, a comprehensive training program for first responders in the state of Tennessee, primarily focused on the rural areas where training is often neglected. I'm actually a board member of the 10 Perry organization. When I came to you last year, we were just getting our system started. We now have instructors in place. We've hired part-time instructors through the Fire Academy. Our course curriculum has been accepted by the Tennessee fire schools, which means it will count toward credit when firefighters take the training. We have purchased all of our equipment for the training. We have our computers, we have everything in place, and now we're in the process of starting to reach out across the state to initiate training programs. This $94,000 amount here is for the second year of the Perseverance software. It was a sole source software, and I presented that information last year. I will note that this was part of the original grant narrative that was supplied to PHMSA, which is the Department of Transportation. So it's documented in there. This amount was documented in there for the 2-year period. our goal with Tim Perry and the goal of this grant and a subsequent grant that we have that we'll be starting on next year is to develop a self-sustaining process for this program. By bringing pipeline, again, the pipeline transmission people, the local pipeline groups like Marion Natural Gas, and bringing them into the organization on a fee basis and other revenue streams, it will be self-supporting after the end of the grant cycle. So what I'm asking for here is, again, for the second year for the main software that we have an amount of $94,000, and then the other is we're adding a stakeholder system, which again is in the grant narrative. And what this software does, it's way beyond me, but the subscriber organizations, and again, Marion Natural Gas is not a member yet. We have about 40 utility groups across the state that have joined. But this software is available to them because they have annual requirements for proof of training to the local responders are trained to respond to emergencies. And so those members that are part of this can see the documented training in there. They can follow the progress of it. It's a very fabulous system. It records the entire training, 8-hour training process as we go, and so it's on file for documentation for proof of training. And so I'm asking again for approval for 2 purchase orders, one for $94,000 and the other for $32,000. I'm sorry, $92,000 and the other for $32,000. Be glad to answer any questions.
Make sure that this is grant money.
This is grant money, yes. And in fact, actually, we downloaded. We brought half of the original grant down in advance to pay for stuff. We brought $225,000 down into the county budget. So far, we've spent $137,000 of that, with an $87,000 balance, and we still have a $250,000 balance to draw down on. So I'm just asking for consideration on this, please.
Can I ask a question? Yes, sir. Who's eligible for the training program?
It will be. It's going to be about.
Volunteer.
It's going to be rolled out in 3 phases. The first phase is going to be directed toward the first responder fire departments. Our goal is eventually we'll be training law officers. We'll be training 911 people.
EMTs.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And I don't want to speak too much about it, but we had an incident in Marion County several years ago where we had an incursion on a pipeline. Had we had the training that day, it would have saved a lot of heartaches and for people, responders, and everything trying to get stuff sorted out. So, yes, sir. But it's going to be available. There's no charge for the classes at all. A training session is 8 hours. They'll either come in and do a 2-night session, or they'll do a 1-day, like a Saturday session for the volunteers. And I've been in contact with one of the instructors who's reached out from Marion County. My main concern right now is trying to schedule some training with all the football going on, and so we can get people. But we've got it. Out of the 20 fire departments, we have, I think, 12 fire departments that are impacted by either natural gas or liquid pipelines in our county.
We have one in our town. That's why Jackson is the volunteer department.
Yeah, volunteer, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any additional questions?
Steve, did you say 92 or 94?
92, it was 94 last year. I'm sorry, no, it's 94,000. I'm sorry, I had it backwards. It's 94.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Rollins and a second from Commissioner Shaker. All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Travis Lane?
I want to first start to thank y'all for having me here tonight. I'm here tonight to bring awareness to something that a lot don't know about, and that's autism. We have been for the last few months coming up with a way that a lot of our children that's nonverbal, that is autistic, or have other speech issues can go to our parks and play in our playground. So just a little background about me is that our grandson was diagnosed a few years ago of having autism, and it made it a little rough on us to communicate with him because he's also nonverbal. 1 out of 34 children is born with autism. 40% of those are nonverbal. So my wife and I had came up with a way when we talked to him, we would make little things on the refrigerator where I am Pop, so she took a picture of me and then herself and then mom and dad and then ice cream. He likes chicken nuggets, and we had all that and we put it on the refrigerator. So he could go up to the refrigerator and he could point and let us know what he wants. So what we got to thinking when we started going to the playgrounds and stuff, and he wanted to play with other kids, and they don't know that he is autistic, and he wants to play with them, there was no way he could communicate with them to let them know. So we started on a communication board, if you want to pass that around. My wife came up with it, and we thought, what a great idea this would be if we could get this through Marion County to all the city parks and even the Marion County Park. So back in May, I ended up calling the Marion County Park Board and got on the park board to present this to them. They were the first ones who approved this to put it in Marion County Park. They also have, I think they have both of them installed now. I'm not for sure, but I know one of them is installed when you first go into the park there. And seeing this vision of ours come to reality is a great feeling, because it gives all the children, like I say, it's not just for autism kids, it's for anybody with speech difficulty or anything, can go to the parks now and see these boards, and they could take those pictures. Matter of fact, I've got another one here I can show you somewhere. And they can take these pictures and they can point at them and they could say, hey, I want to play, or my name is this, and it gives them an opportunity to play with other kids that's in the playground. And tonight, I just want everybody to know that I am very thankful to each city, to the Marion County Park Board, and also I had a meeting with the Marion County Department of Education last week, and they're going to buy boards to go at the playgrounds of every school in Marion County. I want to thank our leaders for coming together and agreeing with this, because you don't know how many kids and their families that come and visit Marion County, how many is going to move to Marion County over the next few years. And this helps them to communicate with the communities out there. And I really do appreciate everyone who stepped up in this county to make this vision of ours a reality. Because without this, these kids would be out there and wouldn't know what's going on. And for all of the cities to come together, and for the Marion County Park Board and the Marion County Department of Education to come together, this warms our hearts to see this. Because it wasn't just for our grandson, but it's for every child in this county. And I just wanted to come tonight and just to present this, that when you go to parks now, when you see these signs, you'll know, hey, if one child uses this sign, it's worth it. And I just want to thank everybody tonight for that.
Chairman, I wanted to, we have some people here related to the water issue for South Pittsburgh, and I've been asked a lot of questions about it. So, I understand that the Marion County Mayor's Office oversees grant money, particularly the American Rescue Grant for the waterline expansion. I've repeatedly asked who determines the location for the waterline expansion and the reasoning behind their decisions. My question remains, who made these decisions and who is ultimately responsible for them? The South Pittsburgh Borderline project has been halted because TDOT withdrew Marion County's permits. Why did this happen, and who's accountable? Why was the water line on SR2 installed on President's Day, contrary to the TDOT's guidelines, which led to the permit issues? What steps are being taken to resolve these problems and secure TDOT approvals so we can proceed? TDOT estimates that approximately $230,000 in additional taxpayer money will be needed to fix these issues. Who will be held accountable for these costs? Before I came to the meeting, I talked to Donald Blansett, Commissioner Blansett, and he had recommended putting a motion forward. I moved to establish a special committee with one commissioner from each district to assist the mayor in determining who is ultimately responsible for the SR2 issue with TDOT. This committee would help prevent similar problems in the future and support the mayor in finding solutions so we can deliver water to everyone we have promised it to. Thank you. So that's a resolution, or excuse me, a motion.
We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Roll call vote. Any questions before we move forward with the vote?
Just a committee to discuss.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, what authority is this committee gonna have? I mean, once we get down to the bottom of who made the decisions that were made.
All right, this is
I
not
mean, what are we gonna do about it?
well, I think the big thing is to identify who is responsible, how we can help the mayor. Because TDOT is saying the SR2 issue, that it's gonna be a couple $100,000 to fix. We gotta know who is ultimately accountable for it. And then I think the committee would, if we have, one person from each district, perhaps we could help the mayor and come up with some solutions and come back to the rest of the board. So it's, $200-some-thousand is quite a bit of money. I would hope that maybe the contractor, or maybe there's an issue where we don't have to pay this money. But right now, I think we have to understand exactly what happened. We need clarity on the issue.
Any other thing? You sure we've done what, the last time? All right, so we have a motion and a second, roll call vote.
Commissioner Abbott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Brandt?
Yes?
Commissioner Campbell?
Yes.
Commissioner Cantrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Holland?
Yes.
Commissioner Mason?
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley?
Yes.
Commissioner Rollins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
I would also like for whoever ends up on the committee to involve the utility districts that were affected.
I guess the question is, if I may, who's going to come up with who's on the committee?
Since Commissioner Blansett moved to set the committee up, I would make a motion that he chairs and appoints the committee.
Next one, I guess.
Second. He's not here, we
Congratulations. Just volunteered.
He doesn't have the authority to appoint a committee.
Let him think he does.
You can accept volunteers. Volunteer, Mr. Blansett.
I'll volunteer to Mr. Blansett.
Right, yeah.
Speaking of the water.
Simplest way to do it would be if you could get, since you've nominated Commissioner Blansett, who's nominated himself, is you can get volunteers from the other 4 districts, then have that conservatorship. It's advisory anyway, so you can't agree on doing it that way, and by statute, county mayor wants the committee, so.
Do you all like to think it over for the next few days and get with the mayor? Each of the, three commissioners from each district, who's gonna represent their district, and report back, fair enough? All right. Moving on to, approval of notaries. Are we going back to Pedalucci Trail, sorry?
I think we discussed it, but these people, there's 8 or 9 people that have expressed that, hey, they need help. Nicole, I'll read 2 of them, so that way we know the emphasis and we know how important this is, that we do come up with something. You remember, this is from Nicole Mullen. Dear members of the Commission and Board of Marion County, my name is Nicole Mullen, and I purchased property through Clint Carroll in May of this year for our family dream home overlooking Nickajack Lake. We began work on our lot soon after purchase and were subsequently harassed by our neighbors stating that we didn't have a right to build here. Initially, I was told by the building inspector I could get a building permit, and shortly after I was told I could not without getting a court order for an easement to access my land. I have not been able to find anywhere in court records that our easement has not been reverted or dissolved. This would in fact require a public hearing, as this easement affects all the landowners on the lower, I can't pronounce that word very well, the neighborhood Takaluchi Trail, below the washout. I have recently received the following letter attached and have sustained significant difficulty in beautifying my property and preparing it for building, which that's of course the letter related to the ownership of that land and not being able to access their or her lot. This has cost me excessive amounts of money and time in a pursuit to remedy this. According to my plat and deed, I have perpetual easement that shouldn't be able to be revoked. I'm asking the county to step in and assure all of us landowners that I want to pursue our dream of a home in the mountains to help us resolve this issue. So that's by Nicole Mullins. There's another fellow named Adam Mayaski. I apologize for not pronouncing his name correctly. Sasquatchy Point has been a black cloud hanging over Marion County for nearly 2 decades now, and a source of pain and loss for so many landowners. When I attended the first owners' meetings of the rejuvenated community back in 2021, I was told that my lot and those of others around me in the lower area of Phase 2, although nowhere near the infamous washout area, was deemed unfit by the county for any building or other improvements. However, I was never sent any official correspondence from the county officials confirming this supposed restriction. It was all left up to rumor and unsubstantiated claims. During the last owners meeting earlier this year, I was told we now actually could build in our land. But a call to the county permitting office revealed yet another unthinkable obstacle. The main road originally designed to reach my land was now no longer a public easement. Once contractually shared by all neighbors in that area. Instead, I'm expected to believe that I am legally landlocked out of my own property. Not only is this illegal in any real estate universe, but there was no notice given ahead of this action, no public hearing, no compensation, and even no confirmation after the fact. Furthermore, the county attorney did not return my call once the subject matter of my inquiry came to light. In sum, I can use my property, but I'm just not allowed to get there. That's like me going to your house and saying I purchased the rights to your driveway. You still own the garage and are welcome to use it, that you can't drive your car across the new easement to park inside. I find the logic or lawlessness in this explanation is an effort in futility, but something none of us will any longer sit and idle by and let happen. The owners in question in this controversy seem to be all accounts to be friendly, well-meaning individuals who were given poor and unlawful guidance from Marion County. And it's high time the county steps up to make this situation whole for the betterment of the entire development and to restore the property rights and access of those who have long since invested in this area's future, who have already suffered mightily in the process. Thank you.
I have a question. Okay, on the map. And there's another road, but it talks about, you talk about washouts and things like that. Is this road right here? I was just asking because you've been there. Is that road unusable as well?
I think Mr. Vanetta.
Yes, ma'am, it is unusable.
No, I'm talking about the other way out.
That's part of it. Up the top, that's, yes, ma'am, if you're saying up to the top, and that's what's the legal easement that they have is through the top, but the road is washed out.
I thought this down here was.
It is, but this road in here is in bad shape.
I mean, but you can't go through it?
You can't.
Nobody's.
Last time I was up there.
So everybody here is without an option?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, and in all due credit to the Vanettas, they had a contract. And I think that the plat, obviously, I don't know, would the plat have been approved if that was known, that a reversion clause was internal to an agreement or a private agreement?
I would think that the Vanettas had that been disclosed to the planning commission, I think they would have been asked to sign off on the plat, dedicating that easement much like that was. And to my knowledge, they weren't.
No, we were
never
not
asked to do that.
Well, in our agreement, he had already started in Georgia. Yeah, so that he had already started construction on down and got to where we were and was trying to access quickly through Tennessee. And he approached us about doing the easement and not just the road being taken over or approved by the county and all that. There were other things attached to the easement. To the agreement, and we wanted to protect our interests because unfortunately, after being there for 30 years, we had been through about 5 or 6 poor developers that had gone in and taken people's money a lot. And actually, when I met Nicole, I went up there to tell her, before you put any more money into this property, you really need to do your research. And maybe you should, stop clearing, because I knew there was a court order on the property, and TDEC does not like it when you start messing around with their orders and doing work. And I told her, that she didn't have an easement, but she needed to start really checking before she put any more money into land clearing. I told her at that point, I did not feel like she would be able to get a building permit. And she said, well, she wasn't planning on building right now, but that she would be at some point. And, I'm not gonna say our conversation was not a little tense, but I told her again, you need to really check into this because of all these issues and these court orders and what TDEC has put on the property and what the state has said about the property. So for her, I don't really understand why they continued, and that's why they got a cease and desist with trespassing, because they continued after my first meeting to say, and we have presented her with, come to us with negotiation, but we're just not negotiating with you. It's everybody, and everybody has to come to an agreement. Everybody needs to understand that they can't just zip down to their property on a road that the state has said closed, dangerous, and just, but there's a lot of levels involved in this.
I think Ms. Hall would like to say something.
I'm just gonna go back to the state does not close private roads. I mean, there's nothing I can do here, so.
I've got two questions. Corey, is this a county road? Okay. Ms. Nicole, how did you, when a realtor showed you this land, how did you get to it?
On the road, it was open and notorious. Clint Carroll, I have even in an email or, I mean, a text saying there's no way that they can block access.
The lower road?
Yes, sir. Because it's an open and notorious road and it cannot be closed by the state of Tennessee. I have called TDOT, I have called TDOT, I've called your road people that are like, we do not have anything to do with the road. So this is private land that they're trying to revert back, that never notified any landowners, and what they're upset about is the fact that they know that they don't have legal rights to do that.
I'm sorry, it's not trying to revert that land has legally reverted.
Right, but the right of way did not revert.
And you drove past a sign that said dangerous.
We're gonna stop right here because this is gonna be, we've already got concerns of conflicts of interest and we're putting ourselves in a position, I think you would agree, this needs to be a private matter, at least at this point.
Well, I think it is a private matter. At the end of the day, I mean, again, we're talking about private property, whether it's owned by Bananas, whether there's some of it owned by Ms. Mullen or other party that have been named here tonight. I mean, it's not my place to make a determination about who owns what. That's something they're gonna have to sort out. As Victor alluded to, in response to Mr. Rollins' question, this is not right now, it's not a county road. None of the roads in Squatchy Point, including this lower section of Teledaction Trail, as of right now, are county roads.
And I appreciate you all. Thank you very much for that. That was my main point.
The subdivision regulations we can do so we don't repeat this again.
The statute that I was referring to earlier, Mr. Brandt, is, it's the law statewide. The planning commission approves plats, but the planning commission does not have the authority to confer county road status on any road.
No, I'm not talking about the road issue, I'm talking about notice. So if a failed subdivision, if it fails, and you exercise the bond, is there a way to give notice to the public so that they know, oh, hey, there's a problem here? Because that seems to be one of the things we keep hearing, is these property owners were unaware of any of this. And had they known, could they have made a corrective measure? Could they have done something?
I'm not aware of there ever being another subdivision in our county where version rights that the Bananas had retained was an issue. Could it happen in the future? Certainly it could. Is that always going to be disclosed to the county planning commission? I can't answer that. I mean, it's possible that it's not disclosed. If it's not recorded, and I'm not saying yours was recorded, I'm just saying if it's not recorded, then there's no way to know about that, unless somebody discloses it to the planning commission. Did the Bananas have an obligation to notify the public that this property had reverted back to them? I don't know that they did. I'm not trying to get.
No, and I'm not saying, that's not what I'm, they have an agreement, and that agreement, I think, I understand that, and that makes sense. And the big thing is the planning commission, this is an approved subdivision from Marion County. So what is our obligation to that?
Well, again, you're talking specifically here about a road, and there is a statute that defines the role of the county planning commission and the county commission and the county road superintendent when it comes to roads that are going to become county roads. And we've never gotten, we as the county have never gotten to that, even the second step. So it's still, as of right now, and it may be unfortunate for Ms. Mullen and to some extent to Bananas, but at this point, it sounds like they wanted the development to go because it was going to benefit them, obviously, or they would have never made the original agreement with Mr. Detweiler. But that didn't happen. And so now, everybody involved, and to some extent, maybe even the county, is is left trying to pick up the pieces and make the best out of the situation that's not good.
Thank you.
Item number 21, approval of notice.
Crystal Crum, Annalee Henderson, Tabitha Moreland, Susan Leslie Price, L. Allison Richards.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? General business? Yes, sir?
For going on 3 months now, the ethics committee has not met on some ethics complaints, and I'd like to know, and there's only 3 members of the ethics committee, can the mayor appoint 2 other members so that the ethics committee can meet and hear these ethics complaints and get them resolved?
That's right, we're going on, we're gonna have a forum with all the ethics complaints being filed. We get one a meeting, so.
We actually have six members. 2 of those members that had complaints filed against them, so they had recused herself. And we did have a meeting scheduled and we get a forum. So, I mean.
Well, I think we understand Commissioner Nunley had surgery and had a conflict, so, Vice Chairman, is there a plan to set a meeting in the near future?
Yes, there is. And then I have to get with everyone of the members.
Make sure they can be there?
To make sure that they can be there.
Understand.
Which I did before, but then we had incidents where the person could not be there, and I don't blame them, okay?
Yes, I do. Last couple of weeks, been some accusations made by Commissioner Brandt. Very disheartened that you've made some of these accusations, Commissioner. I won't address them. I'm not going to address them on Facebook. I'll address them here for you, the public, God, and everybody else can hear it. So it's very transparent. Awful used word here lately about transparency. First one is about Mayor Jackson's ties with Lodge Manufacturing. First of all, I don't have a vote or any decision making concerning the library board. Accusation you made about my ties with the Lodge Manufacturing or Henry Lodge. Well, I will tell you, Lodge Manufacturing provided me with a job. It provided for me and my family. And there is no conflict of interest there. Very, very, very discouraged that you bring something up where I may live for 34 and a half years. Not only with Lodge, Henry Lodge, John Lodge's daddy, I go back a long way with the Lodge family, the Kellens, Dick, Francis, Leslie, Bill Kellen. Some folks y'all don't know because they're dead and gone. And they were good to me. They helped me. There was some times when my wife couldn't have children, we adopted. After a day's notice, boom, you're gone. Go do what you gotta do. So there's a lot, my loyal to Lodge Manufacturing, daggum right I am. Daggum right. And I always will be. The other thing you had on here is about the National Cornbread Involvement Bias, and this goes back about the library board. I'm not going to comment on that. The other thing you had Mayor Jackson's predictions and communications with Mayor Henson. Well, I'm going to answer that question. I got a question for you. What was the discussion that you and Commissioner Shaker had in the doctor's office about 2 months ago?
My hemorrhoids?
I've got to read it. You want to tell, you want to know my communications, I'd like to know what y'all's communication was.
Anything you want to know, just tell me. I don't know what you're referring to.
I'll tell you exactly what I'm referring to.
Well, tell me.
Talking about the website that Mr. Morgan developed, MarionCountyMessenger.com, talking about it and making fun about that. And talking about how hard you're going to make it on people in the months to come.
So your information is inaccurate.
Well, I've got a witness and.
Well, then,
How
have
come?
please have them stand up and tell us who they are.
Y'all were talking.
Are you aware of this?
Y'all were talking about me in the doctor's office, and so that's fine, but I'm
And
just.
is this not part of an ethics investigation? Why are we discussing this right now?
Mr. Mayor.
I've got the sense how to deal with it.
You made an accusation to me, and I'd like to answer it.
Go ahead.
I in no way talked about you in the doctor's office.
Okay.
We did talk about my wife and her problems.
Now, this was not about your wife, so.
Well, I'm sorry, but the person that you are referring to didn't have the conversation
Okay.
that was going on, correct?
So my conversation with Mayor Henson was about the numbers that your resolution that you put together, about the $97,000 for 3 libraries. That's what we discussed. And I think Mr. Henson said 10 phone calls he made to the mayor's office that day. That was a discussion. And also, I wish the South Pittsburgh would stay in the library board, in the library, as well as the same discussion I had with Mayor Turner when he and Ann Gray come off, said Jack was gonna pull out. I encouraged them to stay in, which I wish it had stayed in, but they didn't, and that's water under the bridge. You talk to broader ethical implications about Lodge, Beth Duggar, Sean Henson. Well, full transparency, folks. I worked at Lodge, as I clarified a while ago. Me and Miss Beth Duggar, whose maiden name was Bradford, we went to church together for 20+ years. Me and her brother Honey run around together. Matter of fact, her mother brought her and her brother to my house when I had chickenpox so they could catch them. Mayor Henson and I, and we went to church together for several years at South Pittsburgh Church of Christ. I go to Jasper now since I moved. He goes to Bridgeport. Also, I bought several cars from him when he worked at Moss Motor Company. That's a conflict of interest, I'm sorry. But that's, you deal with people here locally. You don't try to go to Chattanooga and buy stuff. If you can buy local, you buy local.
So this issue about the library board, so you're right now litigating it in public.
I'm not litigating. I'm gonna go on.
I don't think we have a problem with that, but I think the bigger question was, because one individual that is the chairman of the Marion County Library Board, your loyalty to him as opposed to your oath to the people is more important.
No, sir. I have no decision in what the library board, having a library board, or how the funding goes. That goes back to the 15 commissioners. I don't have a decision. I don't have a vote. I do not have a vote.
Again, Chairman, I have to question us having this, as this is actually been referred to the Ethics Committee, and we're here in public doing this now. And I object to it.
You don't want to do it public? I mean, big old transparency.
One of the ethics violations was on me.
I didn't make an ethics violation against you.
So,
You probably have.
we'll move. Mr. Chairman, we're going to stop.
At this point, if we're gonna hear this ethics complaint, then the public statements and the accusations against people, if you have, they're innocent until proven guilty, and there's a lot of good people in this community that have their names smeared.
Yes, they have.
Painted out, you wanna talk about painted out in the court of public opinion, it's all over social media. So I say, we turn this over to our ethics committee, let them make that determination, turn it over to the attorney, district attorney, whoever, and let them make that determination.
They need to do their homework.
But we'll put it into it that way. Do you agree?
Well, I do believe that this was addressed and was gonna be addressed, but it was taken off the agenda. Because an appropriate place for us to have this discussion would have been right here.
No, that was, I think if we all understood correctly, the reason it was taken off was because we did not want those people who weren't here to take up for themselves or to be able to defend themselves, were not here. And that was how that was gonna play out here.
Well, we do know the difference between a question and an accusation, correct? No. A question. So questions are being asked, and the answer would obviously settle the whole thing, right? So I don't know when you're saying smearing or asking a question. And I don't know, you're so offensive about it, but it seems to be very obvious that this is bothering you.
It's not bothering me, I'm
Just
just
like the
addressing.
Nashville scene part of it.
Well-
Those are allegations I did not make. Those allegations were actually pivotal, were they not? And is that something we should not address? Should we not say that the author or the writer or the investigative reporter of the Nashville scene, they're categorically wrong?
You are a member of the Good Old Boys Club.
Hot on the kettle black.
I'm gonna go back. 5 years ago.
You have your
6 years ago.
cheering crowd with you.
No, I didn't bring it. I don't bring it.
But it's inappropriate what you're doing.
Let me go back to one thing. When I said you're in the Good Old Boys Club, you've used that term for the last 2 or 3 years. Now, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, myself, former road superintendent Jim Hawk, met with you, Roy Gallagher, who's actually the uncle, transparency, his uncle, Ernie Gallagher. Met at your house, met at Mr. Gallagher's house about the roads in the Cumberland Swamp. We come back, after we met with you all. Now, I set up with Mr. Hall, we worked with the county commission and got those roads put on the county road list. Because you asked.
I did what?
You asked for those roads to be put on the county road list. You and Mr.
I
Gallagher
think
did.
the community asked for those.
You was the leader in it. You the one that called the meeting. You wanted to meet in Mr. Gallagher's house, and we met out there.
And then what's your point?
You got some help from the county.
For the community.
Yeah.
I asked for my community, and that's something.
But we helped you out. But I do want to cover one more thing. People that run for elected offices, they didn't run for the county mayor's job for money. I ran to try to make this a better place, in which I think we've done a pretty good job. If I ran for money, I'd have stayed at Lodge. My last school year at Lodge, 2013, I made a little over $100,000. This job in 2014 and 2015 paid a little over $86,000.
Well, what about now?
It pays $124 now, but I would be making a lot more at Lodge if I want to make here. It's not about the money. If people run for these jobs, elected jobs for money, you run for the wrong reason. And I think I've done a pretty dang good job as county mayor. The county mayor's job is being the chief financial officer of this county. Not paving roads, not fixing the school system. That falls under the director of schools and under the county highway superintendent. And we're with the help of the other county office holders and the county commission, we're the top 20 counties in the state of Tennessee financially sound. AA bond rating. Last year, our budget was supposed to have a $6 million fund balance proposed. We ended up over $12 million. I think we've done a pretty good job. And the last thing, Commissioner Brandt, you're a very intelligent person. You've done well for yourself. And I wish you could help us more than you have, instead of trying to push and try to make everybody think we're a bunch of crooks. We're not. And me and you were friends. And I still think you're a very intelligent person. You're no dummy by any means. And you've done well for yourself. You ought to be proud of that.
Now, I think I came to you in the very beginning, and just to talk about the money, if I'm not mistaken, I've not received one red cent in 3 years from this county. Exactly. So I'm not about the money either. I'm about doing service to this community.
If you would do paid if you would do direct deposit. Plain and simple. And the state comptroller's office is well aware of it. And we keep accounts payable of what we owe you. And once you do a direct deposit, we'll send that check on, or send that money to your account. And one other thing you brought up when we done the budget was about how the budget was done. This just come Friday afternoon. This is the 2025, 2026 county uniform charts of counties that we have to use. We can't select and choose what we want to use in our budget. Sure, Linda just received the municipal codes for municipals. They send them out every year. So this is what we have to go by. And, you know, we won't work with you, Commissioner Brown. But I'm tired of sitting here being accused of stuff that we're not guilty of.
I think the question, it's always good to be asked a question. That's what you were being asked.
All right, any other business?
Can I make a public comment? Yes, sir. I worked third last night. Come home, got in a dump truck. I've been in a dump truck all day, so this may not make a lick of sense. But Mr. Lane, I want to thank you and your family for what you've done, your leadership. Really appreciate it. I hate that any child has to suffer from autism. It's a horrible thing. So thank y'all for everything that you've done. I think it's really awesome that all the communities in our county have come together for this one thing. Just like you said, it's not just for the autistic child. It's for all the kids, so they can be one with each other. So it's pretty cool. I think it's awesome. A lot of stuff that goes on in this county. I hate that a lot of it doesn't come up in these meetings, and we fight with each other on some stuff that a lot of it we don't have control over. So thank you so much, Mr. Lane, for what you've done.
I just want to add something to that. After seeing what all just took place, all this negativity and everything that's happened, this was something that's positive that's happened in our county, that our leaders did this. You can say what you want to with them, you can talk about them all they want to. I've been on Facebook, I've seen all that stuff, yes, it was accusing of wrongdoing, and I was the first one that got up and said, if there's any wrongdoing, have your proof before you say there's wrongdoing. Do your facts and research. If you don't have proof, don't get up here and accuse anybody of doing anything wrong. And that's a problem we have, because we got a bunch of people who want to sit and do things that say everything is wrong, but you don't hear one thing positive, you sit and laugh all you want to. But all this is positive that we're doing here, and I think everybody, all the cities, all the board, all that, because this is positive for our county.
Absolutely, sir. I think the last couple of meetings, we've tried to end on a positive note. At least I tried to mention something. You know, we've got a lot to be thankful for. And if I might ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?